Reddit's share of ChatGPT citations went from around 4% to around 0.5% in about a week. Nobody can fully explain it. And if that was your strategy, you haven't got one anymore. This is SEO fucking what? I'm Nikki, 30 years in SEO, and I help small businesses make money from their websites by actually getting found. Today, I'm going to talk about what happens when you build on ground you don't own, and why I've watched it happen 5 or 6 times now, and also what you should be doing instead. Between the 18th of July and the 7th of August, Reddit accounted for 3.83% of all ChatGPT search citations. That's pretty big for one website. Nearly 4 out of every 100 sources ChatGPT pointed at were Reddit threads. But something happened between the 14th and the 17th of August, because that number dropped to 0.52%, which works out as an 86% drop in a fortnight. And it fell in 2 goes, which is kind of worth understanding. The first drop was on the 8th of August, and that one lines up with ChatGPT changing how often it queries certain sites in the background. So we kind of have half an explanation there. But then it dropped again a few days later. And the second one, nobody really knows what's going on. So the people that measure this professionally don't know, Reddit don't seem to know, and I'm telling you for sure, the bloke who sold you a Reddit visibility package back in March really doesn't know. And you have to understand that there was real money riding on that number. Reddit's been in the top 3 most visible sites in Google for over a year. It's been making up a huge chunk of the social media citations in Google's AI overviews, and its share of AI citations has been climbing hard all year. Google signed a content licensing deal with Reddit in 2024 and has been indexing it harder than any other user-generated site on the internet. And Reddit blocked Bing and DuckDuckGo from its recent content, which made Google the only way to find Reddit content. So the industry looked at all that and decided that Reddit was a channel. So agencies built packages. People bought aged accounts with existing karma because new accounts get spotted and binned. And then a number moved for reasons that nobody outside OpenAI can see, and all of it's evaporated. And this isn't really just a Reddit story. Bear with me. Mark Williams-Cook from Canada, who Bill also asked, posted about this and said 2 things I've been saying for years. So I'm going to give him the floor for a minute, because when someone else who knows what they're talking about lands on the same conclusion independently, that's worth more than me shouting about it again on my own. Mark said,
"Stop building your strategies around holes in the system. I've seen way too many companies adopting aggressive Reddit strategies with the goal of manipulating AI answers. The justification of this, somewhat ironically, is that is where the quote-unquote real conversations take place."
So people are manipulating the authentic place on the grounds that it's authentic. Go and find your audience and talk to them honestly. Absolutely. Pay an agency to use AI to seed questions and fake answers about your own brand. No. And secondly, and this is what I've been banging on about since before most of these agencies existed, it works until it doesn't. Which is my actual point, and it's got very little to do with Reddit. The thing that wiped those people out wasn't Reddit. It was that they built on ground they don't own, in a game where they don't get a vote, where nobody has to tell them the rules changed. And I know exactly how this goes because I've watched it happen over and over and over again. Article directories in the early 2000s. This was the whole industry. You wrote a 500-word article, you pushed it out to e-zine articles and the rest of them. You got a link back, you ranked. Entire businesses were built on it. People had software to spin thousands of versions. There were agencies whose only product was article submission. And then Panda landed. And Google took the lot out in one go, overnight. People I know had thousands of articles on those sites, and every single one stopped being worth anything on a Tuesday afternoon. Some of them never came back. And then there was guest posting. Same story, different decade. By about 2010, everyone had decided guest posting was the sustainable, white hat, future-proof way to build links. Agencies sold guest post packages by the fucking dozen. People built their whole client offering on it. And then, in 2014, Matt Cutts wrote one blog post called The Decay and Fall of Guest Blogging for SEO. And that was that. It all closed down. Everything ended. It no longer worked. We then looked at Facebook organic reach. Around, 2012, every small business in the country was being told to build a Facebook audience. Some of them spent real money buying likes. Get to 10,000 fans, they were told, and you've got a free distribution channel forever. But you know what happened. Reach went from somewhere around 15% of your own followers down and down and down until it was basically zero unless you paid. Those businesses hadn't bought an audience. They'd rented one, and the rent went up. And I could keep going. Google Plus, where for about 3 years you were told authorship markup and a Google Plus presence were compulsory. And people even had it in their job titles, right up until Google dropped the whole thing and eventually switched it off. Same thing with Twitter as a professional network, right up until it wasn't, because every single time it's the same pattern. The people who went all in got hurt worst. And every single time, anyone who said, hang on a minute, should we really put everything here, got told they were behind the curve and didn't understand where these things were going. It worked until it didn't. Every single fucking time. And that's the bit that nobody selling Reddit packages this year can tell you, because most of them weren't there. I've said the same thing to clients for the best part of 25, 30 years, and I'll say it again now, because it has never once been wrong. Never build your castle on someone else's sand. So here's the version of this that applies to you, and you're not going to love it. Your website is the only bit of your marketing that you own. Your email list is the only audience you own, and that's it. Everything else is rented. Your LinkedIn reach is rented. Your Reddit account is rented. Your Google business profile is rented. And ask anyone who's had one suspended how the appeals process went. Your AI visibility score, whatever tool you're paying for that, is a measurement of something you have no control over whatsoever. And the landlord does not have to tell you before changing the locks. There's no notice period. There's no contract. There's no account manager. All you've got is a username. Back in episode 2, I went on about who actually owns your Google accounts, because loads of you don't own your own analytics or your own search console. This is the same problem, one floor up. If the platform vanished tonight, what have you still got on Monday morning? For most people, honestly, they've got the website and whatever email addresses they've collected. Nobody has ever bought a business for its Reddit karma. And I want to be fair here. This could easily turn into me telling you to delete everything and live in a fucking cave. Renting is fine. Renting is normal. I post on LinkedIn constantly. I'm on there most days. Half the people listening to this podcast found me on LinkedIn. The problem isn't using a platform you don't own. The problem is when the rented thing is the entire strategy and there's nothing underneath it. And that's what the Reddit crowd got wrong. And it's a very specific mistake. They didn't diversify, they substituted. They stopped writing on their own site because Reddit was working. They stopped building the email list because the citations were coming. They took the thing they owned and swapped it for the thing they were borrowing because the borrowed one had a better graph that quarter. Look, use LinkedIn, use Reddit, use whatever's working. Just make sure the thing you own is underneath it, holding it up. And make sure everything you learn out there ends up written down somewhere no one can take it away from you. And there is one thing that Reddit is really brilliant for. It's free, almost none of you are using it, and it works whether or not ChatGPT is citing a single thread. That's coming up next. So, 3 things I want you to do this week. Number 1, audit what you'd have left. Take your last 20 inquiries and write down where each one came from. Then mark which sources you own and which you're renting. If more than about a third of your business depends on a platform where you've got no contract, no human to ring, that's your risk. It's not a reason to panic. It's a reason to spend the next quarter building the owned site up. Number 2, use Reddit as a keyword research tool instead of as a broadcast channel. This is the good bit, and it's the bit that survives any algorithm change because it's just listening. Go to Google and search site:reddit.com and then the problem your customers have. Not your service name, the problem. In the words a really pissed off person would use, searching late at night when they've had a couple of beers and they just want an answer. And then read the phrasing that shows up in the results. Because how people describe a problem to strangers is exactly how they type it into a search box. And I can almost guarantee it's not how you've written it on your website. You're selling bespoke integrated solutions. They're typing, why won't our stock system talk to our account software? Write the phrases down that people are using. That's your content plan. It's free, handed to you on a plate. Number 3, answer one of those questions properly on your own site. Find the question that comes up again and again in your field. Answer it in full on your website with your name on it. Now you own it. It can rank, it can get cited, it can get emailed to a prospect, and if every platform on earth falls over tomorrow, it's still sat on your domain doing its job. Lily Ray said something about this that I keep coming back to. She said, watch all of this return Reddit back to what it was supposed to be in the first place. And that's it really, isn't it? Reddit was never supposed to be a distribution channel. It's a place where people gather to talk honestly to each other about things that are annoying them. That's why it became valuable. And then an industry turned up to optimize it, and it started being worth nothing. Reddit didn't change. We decided it was something it never was. And then we got upset when it went back to normal. If this was useful, make sure you're following SEO fucking what in whichever app you're listening to right now. And the non-wanky SEO on-page toolkit is now completely free. It takes you through fixing the pages on your own website, which is exactly what this episode has spent however minutes long telling you to do. Go and find it at nonwankyseo.com. Until next time, get found, make money, and never build your castle on someone else's sand.